Number 7. What is the conjugate acid of each of the following? And then what's the conjugate base of each? And then we have letter G. So in this question, we have to find out what's the conjugate acid and the conjugate base of HS minus. Now, if you're finding both the conjugate acid and the conjugate base from one ion, that means that this ion can act as either an acid or a base. If it's acting as an acid, you could find a conjugate base. And if it's acting as a base, you could find its conjugate acid. If a molecule or an ion can act as both an acid and a base, it's called amphoteric. But all we have to do for now is just find out what those conjugates are. And just know that the word conjugate just basically means like a pair. What is being produced from an acid or a base? The conjugate's always going to be on the product side. We'll see that more later. So let's just go for it. So we have HS minus, and let's just pretend that it's acting as an acid. We want to turn it into its conjugate base. Well, what do we have to do in order to turn it into its base? Well, remember, a base is always one less hydrogen than its acid. So if you're going from an acid to a base, you got to lose a hydrogen. The base is always one less hydrogen. So find the hydrogen, here it is, and get rid of it. Boop. So all you have left is just an S in terms of an element. Now when you do that, we just have to correct the charge. When you're losing that hydrogen, you always subtract 1 from the total charge. Initially, in the upper right-hand corner, HS was a negative charge, right? That means it was a -1. So when I come over here, I say, okay, it was a -1, but since I removed a hydrogen, I have to minus 1. So -1 minus 1 is a -2. And this is the conjugate base. One less hydrogen than HS minus. I'm just going to put con base just for short. Now we just have to do the same thing to find the conjugate acid. So HS minus. How do I now say that this is a base and turn it into its acid? Well, if you're turning it into its acid, an acid always has one more hydrogen. So you're going to add 1 hydrogen. You're going to gain a hydrogen. So in the original, I had only 1. So if I'm trying to just find the acid, I'm just going to have now 2 hydrogens. And then all the other elements go with it. And in that case, it's just an S. And now we just have to correct the charge. Remember, this was a -1. So -1. And then when you're turning it into an acid, since you're gaining a hydrogen, you always plus 1 to your charge. So -1 plus 1. -1 plus 1 is just neutral. So I don't have to write anything. It's a 0 charge. And that's it. That's the conjugate acid. And I'm just going to put con acid here. There you go, guys. Hopefully this helped. Let me know in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. And I will see you all, I'll talk to you all in later lessons. Hope you're having a great day. And keep studying hard. Okay, bye-bye.